Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's lesson, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to start off with some general warm-ups, then a little bit of scales, and then I'm going to take us back to actually the beginning of this book. This is for the start one level. And this time I'll actually mark it down because I've been conducting other videos for different programs, and it looks like I didn't mark it off in here. So we're going to start off with something called a tone builder. Within your Essential Elements 2000 book, this is page number 12, and it's performance warm-ups. There's 4 of them. It's called number 52. This is our tone builder. Rhythm etude. Rhythm rap. Chorale. It's going to be taken in what they call andante, so it's a little bit slow. Nice, good tonal quality. Now, we're going to do a little bit of tuning. You'll probably notice that I had a different sound in there. Usually, you can begin tuning as soon as you get into your actual band or your practice. I recommend do a little bit of warm-up first, because sometimes when you tune, you might actually be right at where you need to be. After the warm-up, you might end up being sharp. So try to warm up a little bit and then go ahead and tune, since a cold horn and a warm horn are of a different sound. You can pretty much tune on any note. I usually recommend tuning on the note within your scale. Particularly, I like to tune down to G on the staff, C on the staff, and C below the staff. So we'll start back at number 1. It's called the first note. This is G. I'm going to be playing a lot of these only once. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of count and play. Number 2, just so you know, the beat is pretty much the pulse of the music. This is what gives the music its feeling to it. You can usually count loud and start tapping along to it. This one's going to be called Count and Play. It's all on G. I'm going to introduce you to a new note. It's F. It's on the staff, fingered as 1. choose a team, you're going to combine F and G. Let's head down to number 5. It's going to be E. It's on the staff. It's known as 1 and 2. It's actually, if you're counting upwards from the bottom, it's the first line from the bottom on the bottom. It sounds like this. Let's move on up and combine it with F and G. Yeah, we're going for the long haul here. Number 7, the long haul, it's going to be D, fingered as 1 and 3. This can also be used as alternative fingering for high D, which you'll learn about later on in a future lesson. Let's combine all 4 of these notes together. Number 8, 4x4. We're about a fifth of the way where we need to be, so we're going to try a tuning note. This is called C. It's number 9 in the book, called Touchdown. It's played open and it's right below the staff. Now, how about making all these notes come together? It's called the Fab Five. You're going to have C, D, E, F, and G. Think of the letters of the alphabet. Now we're going to try number 11. It's just reading the notes. When you look at your book, you'll see how they actually write your note and they put the actual letter inside there. Now you're not going to see that in music. If you do, it's probably in a chord chart, but that's in a different story. But for today, we're going to look at just pure notes. So this is number 11, reading the notes. Now pretty much is the same as the Fab Five, except with Fab Five you'll see the difference as it being the notes are written the way they're supposed to be and don't really help you out. But if you ever get stuck on A notes, just think of it as this. All the notes follow the alphabet. So if you try to figure like, oh, I don't know the note that comes after C, just remember the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we're going to try something called the first flight. Now usually I would give you a quiz like right on this lesson since it's called Essential Elements Quiz. However, those other ones I was not actually telling you the note. That was pretty much your review quiz from your previous lessons. So for this one, I'm gonna play it for you. And then I'm gonna take it a little bit faster on the repeat sign. At your number 13, we're going to roll right along with Rolling Along. And of course, our notes that we have in review are G, F, E, D, C. Some of the notes I'll be playing in this video and future videos, if you notice I'm pointing down, it's telling you to make sure you're playing low. If I'm trying to go up, it's usually play the higher one. So here it goes, rolling along. In a way, it almost sounds like Mary Had a Little Lamb. So, I'm going to go to another rhythm rap. When I first started rhythm raps when I was in middle school, I hated them. I'm not a big fan of clapping. However, you'll learn that if you start clapping and you kind of look kind of stupid doing it, it's better to look stupid and get your rhythms right than to be not looking stupid and mess up on stage and look completely lost. So here it goes. This is called rhythm rap. I'm only going to clap it to you. You can count as long as you want. I'm not going to count it for you. Now I'll count it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course. You notice that a lot of our lessons will have a repeat over on there. The repeat sign, just so you know, it looks like two periods right on top of one another. Now this one's called the half counts. There is a repeat in there. You know, it's only going to contain the first 5 notes we have learned. It kind of follows the rhythm rap we just went. So try it if you want to. You can clap the rhythm rap as I'm playing it. Now we're going to try something we used to do when we were playing music or games with our friends in elementary school, middle school. It's called hot cross buns. So next one's called, it's number 18 now in your book. It's called Go Tell Aunt Rody. It's actually an American folk song. I'll be honest, I've never really heard this song. I don't know what they call a folk song. However, if you know about it, then kind of when you see this video, tell me where it originated. I would be intrigued to know about it. notice that in this song, some of my breath would stay good. Because part of this small little excerpt of a larger piece of music, they have a comma above the measure towards the end of the measure. It's known as a breath mark. Because some tunes, they won't actually have a resting period, so you take that quick breath, make sure you play the full length note, take that breath right away, and go on to the next note. And now we're going to try something, number 19. This one, you actually have to write your own piece. However, they give you the exact note, so it's not really writing your own. And we'll see how it goes, because when I wrote this, mind you, I was actually in middle school. That was quite some time ago. I told you, that's Brady's probably older than some of you watching this video. Always make sure when you're practicing, you're always draining your spit valve. Try not to go to constant playing with the full spit valve. It'll sound like you're puckering. And you really don't want that bubble sound when you're playing it solo, especially when you're in a concert or wind ensemble. Next, I'm going to introduce you to whole notes and whole rests. We're going to look at a rhythm rap. I'm going to clap it, and then I will count on the repeat. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 21, the whole thing. Now we're going to play what we just actually clapped. Now, of course, depending on which forms of music you're learning, if you hold it over like a half beat, just make sure it's not a habit or noticeable. Because you'll see, and some charts and some instructors will tell you, you can actually hold it over because it's a first full count, and on the downbeat, the next measure is when you stop. But when you're learning, just go ahead and play the notes in their entirety within the measure that they're respected. Now we're going to play a duet, actually. It's called Split Decision. And it's actually, I'm going to play you part B before we do part A. Because the part B is actually a good support sound, has a nice tonal quality. It sort of helps out the person in part A. And then, of course, with the way this is created, they actually play off one another. Here it goes. Here's part A. that one is written, we can take it a little bit differently. This is how I would try to create a new part A and a new part B and make this part A part C and the part B part D. So here's my version of a new part B. Now this one is going to be the whole notes in here because that has that nice warm rich quality to it, and that's what we should have, is that warm quality. It's actually part D, sorry. That would be my new part D. The original one I would make as part C. The top one right now would be part B. That was the second one I played for you. New part A does not have any whole notes or half. This is the half notes and the quarters. So we're gonna try that one out. See how it sounds. Now that's a big part for number 22. It usually is a duet. However, you can make that to a tercet. Actually, that's poetry. A trio or a quartet. Have fun with that one, because that actual lesson right there can be made into a good concert, even a round. Just remember that when you actually buy this book. In case you don't know what that book is, I'll show you. Hopefully you can see it, because from my angle, it looks like I'm seeing it backwards. That's a book I'm actually helping you train on, because you can hear the CD recording. But if I would have had a live instructor playing it or a video of doing it, it would have helped, because for a long time I've been a visual learner. Now I'm more of kinesthetic and visual. It means I had to have hands-on and I had to be seeing it. I can listen to the auditory like many people can. However, to me it's just like I'm listening to music and jamming out to a car stereo. So the next one is called Key Signature. It's a March Steps, it's number 23. And I'm going to introduce a concept called key signature. Now, if you just have your treble, your bass clef, and you don't see anything else but the time signature, which would be like the 4/4 time that we discussed in the past, you'll notice that you don't have no sharps or flats. If you have one sharp or one flat, wherever it's on, that's going to tell you what note it is, and also which key you're in. If you have like one flat, that's your key of concert E flat, which is actually F major for trumpets because of one flat. And then of course if you're doing like a B flat major, you just have B and your E as your flats, and that's the second to last flat. It's going to be the name of the key. If you're doing a sharp, one sharp, it'd be a concert F major, which is RG in the B flat instruments. That is F sharp. You go a step above that, and there's your note. So this one's called March Steps. I'm going to go ahead and power through this a little bit, since it's makes you want to march, not walk through the actual desert. So here it goes. And of course, number 24 on here. If you have the CD, go ahead and listen to it, because all it's going to do is help us review some notes. I'll go and count out from the beginning. Percussion, then woodwinds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Now let's do Lightly Row. When I first heard about this song, I was actually in 5th grade. My teacher was actually Joe Oliveri. We did Rolling Along like we played on number 14, and we also did Lightly Row, so this is number 25. And I don't even recall which book we actually used in this class. I want to say it was this one. However, it might have been the red one, to be honest. And that's book 2. That would be more for the Start 2 program. Oh, sorry for that quick delay. Forgot I actually had made a pizza and it sort of burned. Fortunately, it tastes better when it's bread, this kind of pizza brand. Let's see, we're gonna do one call. This is number 26. It was actually a quiz originally. I'm gonna pull it up. I can barely see the notes right now. Pretty much on that actual quiz, you had to draw the bar lines. In case you're wondering, why do we have bar lines in music? Why can we not just write it? That's a good question. That's when you go back to time signatures, like how many beats are in a measure. Like it's much simpler to tell someone, I need you to go on beat 2 of the 67th measure, instead of telling them, I need you to go on the 240th beat. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Because what the bar lines do is they actually help organize your music a little bit better. And I highly recommend getting a practice of drawing it when you're writing your own music. And I think I'm going to introduce you to a new note right now. This is an A note. It's actually on the staff, so you don't have to worry about going below C. We could worry about that later on when we're playing music. We call this Reached Higher as number 27. I held that whole note a little bit longer because there's actually what they call a fermata above it. When you think of fermata, think of an actual I, like the I, because that's what it looks like. It looks like the outline of an eye with the dot in the middle of the actual pupil. And that's usually a perfect time to make sure if your note's in tune, if you come out of tune, try to bring it in tune as much as you can, because in a lot of pieces, you're going to want to make sure that you don't sound out of tune and awful. His next song is number 28. It's called Au clair de la lune. And it's actually a French folk song. It's a perfect song to explore the tonal quality of your actual instrument, whether it be trumpet, alto, or tenor sax, even trombone. It has a nice feeling to it, and it should make you think positive thoughts. So here it goes, Au clair de la lune. I know I told you I was going to play like songs once in here, but I want to play that again for you because I don't think you really heard the nice quality of it with all the background noises going on. So we're going to try it one more time. Au clair de la lune. Try a little bit of a remix now. It's going to be number 29. And we're about halfway through our actual lesson. I told you this is going to be a longer lesson. To give you a full quality. Like if you were in my actual studio and I was actually training you. Of course, be a private lesson. We would actually be going through a lot in this book. And of course, we'd be reviewing each week. We'd be stepping it up more. We would actually be stopping at number 30. But since you've already had 1 or 2 lessons, we're going to go a little bit further today. So right now this is number 29. It's called Remix. Now, how about we look at some harmony right now, which means 2 or more notes played together. Each combination forms a chord. So if you want to know more about chords, I'd recommend looking into my advanced program within these actual folders, because the chords will talk about different structures and how you should actually play them and some variations. But this song we're going to look at is a duet, an English folk song. We should play this actual game when we were elementary. Hopefully not in middle school, because then it gets kind of like, why are you playing that when you're in middle school? You should be growing up. But it's about London Bridge. It's called, actually the name of it is London Bridge. I'm going to play for you the part B, which is person B instead of person A. And then we'll play part A on the repeat. Hopefully you like it. Ironically, it's one of my favorite childhood songs, London Bridge. Now, I want to introduce you to an actual different composer. And actually, throughout this entire piece, I don't believe I even introduced you to any composer yet. So this one's actually one of my favorite composers. He is from Austria. During the 18th century, he had a short life of about 35 years. Born in 1756, died in 1791. He was known to write his first, I think it's at age 4, age 6, his first actual main composition. This is an Austrian composer, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, was a child prodigy who started playing professionally at age 6 and lived during the time of the American Revolution. Mozart's music is melodic and imaginative. He wrote more than 600 compositions during his short life, including a piano piece based on the famous song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Can you imagine that 600 within a 35-year period? I myself would probably have over 120 compositions, and I've been writing music since I was in a freshman in high school. But this was this guy's pretty much his life was music. And he was very talented. So this one's called a Mozart Malady. You probably know it as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Baba Black Sheep. I forget the other ones you could write on. However, for a sake of differentiating anything, I would like to just call it a Mozart Malady. It's number 31 on page 8 of your book. Okay, now we're going to look at a little bit of a quiz. This is number 32. All I want you to do is draw the treble clef symbol if you're a treble clef instrument, and also put the repeat sign and draw the 4/4 time signature. I know that's pretty easy, so here it goes. Time to learn a new note. While playing all these notes and mostly playing notes that were not below the staff except for D and C, I'm going to take you a little bit deeper. It's a good tonal note to do when you're just warming up, or if you're wanting to play like your C and then go lower to build your strength, your chops as we call it in music. If you want to build them a little bit stronger, play low notes and there's even notes lower than this to help you build that. And if you're a pivot player like me, where I don't play in the center of my mouth, to me it's a little bit difficult doing that, then you really want to practice on low notes. Especially if you want to play high notes in the future. That should be natural. It's below the staff. And I'm going to show you how it looks while I take a quick drink of my coffee here because I'm kind of parched. And you may take a look at the other notes on here too if you want. Hopefully you can see it. Now I'll give you one tip. If you're going to drink tea, water, or coffee and then play a horn, that's kind of fine. However, I recommend afterwards you actually run some water through it. Also make sure your snake is there, especially if you've ate some food beforehand. And by all means, do not drink a soft drink like Coke or Pepsi before you play a trumpet and eat a sandwich, because your mouthpiece will get clogged, and it can actually affect your horn also. But drinking a Pepsi or a Coke or any soft drink when you're playing your actual instrument, it's not a smart thing, period. Just try not to do it. Stay with water, because water will help you build your strength in your lips more and your body overall. And to play these tunes, you want to make sure that you're doing well. Even if you're practicing, always take care of how you play your horn. Do not make the mistake and say, oh, I'm going to do this. No. Get into a good rhythm of practice. And also, if you're doing what I'm doing, where I'm trying to help you online how to play it, make sure you take a lot of speech when you're talking to your audience and you're helping others, because you don't just want to play straight through for a full-blown hour. Not even the best jazz musicians do that. Not even during concert. You'll see there's some dialogue constantly. Look at rock concerts. Look at all kinds of concerts. It even happens to people who only play on strings. So, without further ado, I think we'll give our chops a little bit of a break. We're going to take Number 33 is called Deep Pockets. If you like me, I like to doodle. Yeah, I like to doodle, paint, pens, trumpets called noodling. So we're going to go and do number 34 and doodle all day. Take it faster. If you're wondering why I took it faster, simple. There's no tempo marking above. This is where you would take a conductor to help you play along. However, if you always saw the notes like you did earlier, and you even listen to a tape and you look at the book yourself, you could play it the slow way. Just for practice in the beginning, and then afterwards you can do it as I did it. So, we're going to start jumping around with that and go to our jump rope, number 35. Now, I'm going to give you guys an actual tip. This has not been mentioned in any of my videos that I recall. Whenever you have a whole note, try to get in a little bit of tune if you have to. Kind of brings it out more. Like if you're flat, you're playing like a tune where it's very dispiriting. And this is supposed to be a part where you're coming out of the ashes like the phoenix. It kind of looks like, brightens up a little bit more. And you'll notice the effect upon your audience. Even one small effect can be great. So, a tisket and a tasket. I'm going to introduce you to something called a pickup note. Now, you notice some pieces where you'll find a note where it's like, it shouldn't belong there because it doesn't match the actual time signature. Well, that's what we call a pickup note. Think of it like someone's leading you in, but you're the one that's picking everybody up, so you're leading them in. It's called a tisket, a tasket. Now you notice the last measure, I only have 3 beats. That's usually how a pickup note will work. They'll take a beat from the end and they'll put it at the beginning to lead you in there. Now when I write my own pieces, I don't actually do that. I just put a pickup note wherever I want to. That's the way I write. How this is the way they wrote this book. I don't believe either way is incorrect. But now let's do a little bit of rhythm rap. It's called loud and soft. You probably saw some markings on previous videos where there's like an F, MF, a P. Now, don't think of it as cuss words, because that's not what it is. F means forte, played loudly. Mezzo forte, moderately loud. Piano, softly. And then, of course, in future charts, you'll see like all these extra combinations. You'll see different ones. But for right now, we're going to look at F. M, F, and P. Here it goes. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a little bit of Jingle Bells. Now this one's a little bit slower compared to the ones we see during the holidays, or compared to like a jazzier version, which you'll see in one of the other videos. I believe that's the Start 3 program or Start 2. I'm not for sure because I haven't actually composed it yet. Because that one was throw in London Bridge. For this one, we're gonna take it kind of slow. I want you to think of Bing Crosby style singing when you do Jingle Bells, kind of like the music that used to put us to sleep when we were kids. Especially if you had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer coming on, and they sung it the old school mentality way. The guy who wrote this was J.S. Pierpoint, or Pierpont. Jingle Bells. I had to play it for so many years, trying to play it that slow took a lot more energy than what it would usually do. Now, this next song, I'm going to introduce you to it. It's weird because I don't actually celebrate, I don't really celebrate Hanukkah. I do have Jewish roots. However, this song is called a traditional Hanukkah song, and it's called My Dreidel. I don't know the words to it. I mean, one person I went to school with knew the words. However, we were never taught how to play it. But then again, my band instructor was only wanting to get through this book and be in competition with another instructor. Which, by the way, they actually won that contest. We did not win it. So this one's called My Dreidel. It does have a pickup note in here. There are several breath marks. I also recommend, if you have a resting period, take a breath during that time. Don't just be like, oh, now I have to take a breath, and you already have your resting measures out. Because that will actually throw you off and can be very obvious to the audience. Moving on to page number 10. We're going to do a little bit of a rhythm rap. Now, I'll tell you, when I first came across this page back in 2000, it was 2001. It was kind of interesting because we introduced you to what they call the eighth note. Now, eighth note is a half beat, so 2 eighth notes equal 1 beat. And of course, you have 2 or more eighth notes. You have something called a beam across them. Instead of just writing them looking like a check mark that's filled in, you'll have a beam. So we're going to do a rhythm rap. Same thing as usual. I'll play it, then I'll count it for you with playing. Well, clapping, not playing. and 2 and 3. Wait, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Counting and clapping at the same time is kind of annoying because you're thinking about, I'm going to count and then I'm going to play. That's how I've always thought about it. Kind of like you're echoing back and forth, duetting with yourself. And so this one's called Eighth Note Jam. Very easy. It's basically F, G, A, and E. And there is a repeat. For this one, I'm going to try to show you the fingerings as if I was playing a clarinet, not a trumpet. Pay attention. If you have to zoom in, go ahead. I'll try to make it look obvious on my fingers. So that's your eighth note jam. Has that little more pulse to it, like bum bum bum, bum 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 bum, instead of bum bum bum. You have more of a feeling now. Because now we're going to be entering a part of the book where you start feeling like you're actually playing your instrument and you're making it come alive a little bit. So this next one is called Skip to My Lou. It's an American folk song, number 42 in the book. Now, it feels weird when we first start playing our instrument. We like to reflect when we first started playing years later. It comes to a point we realize that was long, long ago. Number 43. Now, we're going to go to a song called Oh Susanna. Guy who wrote it was Stephen Collins Foster. If you want to know who that is, go ahead and do a quick Google search if you want to. If you're crazier than me, just go ahead and do like a research project on it. Because it is a pretty good song. Try it one more time. Okay, now let's talk about another composer here. This one is Jaquino Rossini. Now, he's an Italian composer, 1792 to 1868. He was composing as a teenager and was actually very proficient on the piano, viola, and horn. That's pretty good. The keys, the strings, and a wind instrument. He wrote William Tell at age 37 as the last of his 40 operas, and his familiar theme is still heard today on radio and television. Look at some old cartoons of Tom and Jerry. You'll actually hear this song. And pretty much in some actual popular media, whenever there's like a certain point of strength and overcoming of everything, you'll hear the song a lot. However, you won't see it in action films. It's more like, unfortunate, comedy films. So as you can tell, even as a professional trumpeter, I still sound awful at that song. However, it's really murder on the tongue. If you don't actually practice William Tell every day, it's a pretty good song. And believe it or not, this is the easiest part you ever play this song. Because there's actually a more confusing version. I put it from my own trumpet professor when I was at undergrad school. And they actually took this up 1 to 2 octaves. So you're not playing C on here or below the staff, you're playing C above the staff. So we're going to try it one more time. If you just want to skip that song with you when you're learning, it's quite alright. Okay guys, we're at our last 3 minutes of the whole entire video. We're going to do a rhythm rap, and we're going to try to finish off with... Actually, we'll see where we go. So here goes, rhythm rap number 46. I'm just going to count it with you this time. We're not going to do the repeat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2. 2 by 2, number 47. Later on in another video, I'm going to introduce you to his composer in a different way. It's John Philip Sousa. His song it's number 48 in the book. It's called High School Cadets, and it's a march. It's kind of fast, but we're going to take it a little bit slower so you can hear the beauty of the notes. Try to watch my fingerings if you can, okay? Now, just put a new note. It's called Hey Ho, Nobody's Home. It's an A below the staff. 1 and 2. Now, clapping the dynamics, number 50. I'm going to count and say it. Actually, we're just going to play it. There's no counting on here, but make sure you're counting your head. Play the dynamics. Well, looks like we made it to our point, everybody. So we played all the way through from number 1 through 52, and we started at 52 today. So in actuality, we played 55 pieces of music. That's within 1 hour. Now, starting possibly tomorrow, we're going to start a different video where we're going to be going from, I'm going to start us back off at 52 because I like the performance warm-ups in our training. And then 52, we're going to take it all the way until we get to, I think, since we did 52 itself, I think we might be ready to do another 52 on here. And actually, wait a minute. I'll take you all the way up to 89 where we'll actually finish off. And that's for our future video, since that one's going to start us off with some tone builder, a rhythm aid to the rhythm map and a chorale. And then we're going to start working out for a little bit of tone and technique, another tone builder, a rhythm builder, a technique track, and a nice chorale it's an adaptation from Bach's, one of Bach's chorales. Of course, I'll let you know more about that tomorrow, because if we do quite well within the whole hour lesson, we might even go above that. And just so you know, tomorrow will be a different day for a lesson. If you have any questions, you can also follow along with your own Essential Elements 2000 book. I highly recommend you grab this book, you listen to a CD, and you also listen to someone playing it. Because sometimes hearing the actual monotone track on there, or the recording, will not actually really help you unless you can visualize a person actually playing it. And of course, some of them do have a DVD, except I've seen the DVDs and they actually do not really help. It's better if you actually have someone that's actually non-scripted right in front of you, instead of someone following that script. So, as always, take care and keep on practicing.